President Biden made a surprise visit to Kyiv just days before the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Biden embarked on the historic trip overnight and arrived at the presidential palace, where he was greeted by President Zelensky and his wife. Biden doubled down on the U.S.'s ongoing commitment to Ukraine. Here he is speaking from Kyiv.
Freedom is priceless. It's worth fighting for as long as it takes. And that's how long we're going to be with you, Mr. President, for as long as it takes.
Biden is feeling pressure from all sides in favor of supporting Ukraine. U.S. lawmakers are pushing the Biden administration to supply the war-torn nation with F-16 fighter jets. Biden declined to do so last month, opting to equip Kyiv with 31 Abrams battle tanks instead. Look, I find it disturbing what he says there in his remarks. That's exactly what we're concerned about. He says, as long as it takes. That has been the State Department's line. That's something they've repeated. He says it's priceless, so we'd be willing to spend any amount of money and an infinite amount of time to support Ukraine, not just necessarily for the defense, but for to the detriment of the Putin regime, with the ultimate, I mean, we know, reading between the lines, that's what the ultimate State Department goal is. They want pain for Putin. And they're willing to pay any amount of money, and they're willing to take as long with this as they can, even if there's nothing left of Ukraine, however many years from now, and we're still at this.
Ukrainian. I mean, that really is what's so gross about it, is the tacit indifference to the humanitarian implications of prolonging a conflict and not engaging in a way that's designed to bring the conflict to an end. When you're saying things like, as long as it takes, that doesn't exactly inspire confidence that your goal is to engage militarily in a way that's supposed to bring Russia to the table, in a way that's supposed to encourage some negotiations. And the way that from the beginning, there's never been any substantive conversation about what concessions are going to be necessary to bring the conflict to an end. And in fact, any concession on the part of Ukraine being characterized as bending the knee to Putin, or, being a supporter of Putin or a Putin puppet, it is frustrating, it's demoralizing, and it is very interesting to see that Biden is able to continue with this narrative, despite there being a substantial amount of pushback here at home, including this past weekend. There was this anti-war rally where protesters from the right and the left marched in Washington just yesterday in the Rage Against the War Machine rally, which opposed the war in Ukraine. Senator Rand Paul, Tulsi Gabbard, and Jimmy Dore were among the protesters who rallied at the Lincoln Memorial, calling for a peace deal and an end to arming Ukraine. Yeah, a lot of guests we've featured, perspectives that have been at home here at Rising. Former host Kim Iverson was there speaking as well. Look, it's a very important cause, and it was so it was organized actually by the Libertarian Party. Angela McArdle, we've had her on as a guest as well. But with the stated explicit goal, we're here against war, which necessarily involves people on different sides of other political issues coming together. So there were some Lyndon LaRoche people there. There were lefty, probably explicit communist people there. There were people with Russian flags. And do I agree with the variety of views those people hold on many other issues? No. But you can't have a very successful anti-war rally unless you include voices who would not agree on other issues. I mean, this is like textbook political coalition building. So because I agree with the cause, you want to be as inclusive as you possibly can to show that there is real opposition to this. And I think there is among the American people. I think if you go to the American people and say, President Biden said our commitment to this is as long as it takes, whatever it takes. Do you agree with that? I think many Americans would say they would have some pause about that. They'd ask, well, is he going to visit East Palestine? Yeah, I mean, look, there was some checkered responses to this event happening on the left. Obviously, there are a lot of leftists who were participants and panelists and some of the biggest cheerleaders of this. At the same time, there was a debate within the community as to whether or not there are some people who you shouldn't coalition build with. And people like Chris Hedges took the opposite approach. He was a speaker at the event, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Chris Hedges. And he says that it is important to be clear about those things that you don't agree with people with, so there's no confusion about the idea of that you might be endorsing some other beliefs that are articulated by people at the conference. But at the end of the day, the
blob in this case, or whatever other powerful force that you're aligning against or trying to coalition build to defeat, is always going to win if you succumb to the idea that there has to be a perfect harmony of interests for you to rally around a shared cause.
I've talked to you a little bit about the Libertarian Party, of which I'm a member, had a new group kind of take over the party and is pushing it in a little bit of a different direction, and that's caused some discomfort among people who used to be. If there's a big kind of civil war in the Libertarian Party, because they're so massive and powerful and influential. I've had many criticisms of the kind of team that took over, but this isn't really one of them. And so now they're being criticized by some of the people who used to be affiliated with the LP, saying it was wrong of them to have this rally and invite so many people who are outside libertarianism or who have beliefs.
Oh, interesting. You guys are having the same debate.
We're absolutely getting that. And again, I do not shy away from critiquing the party when I disagree with some of the things it's doing. But on this issue, I think if you're going to have an anti-war rally, you should invite people who are anti-war, even if we disagree with them otherwise.
Yeah, that kind of is inspiring me, actually. It makes me kind of feel like
we go through the same thing.
If everyone's mad, it sounds like they're on the right track.
Yeah.
And by the way, we will be having some people who were at the rally. Savvy Sabs will be joining us tomorrow to discuss.
Yeah, and we have some footage of Tara Reade talking on Tucker Carlson about the rally, which took place over the weekend, and getting some promo for it. Let's watch.
Tara Reade will be there. She's the author of Left Out When the Truth Doesn't Fit In. We've interviewed her before on other topics, but she'll be at this event tomorrow. Tara, thanks so much for coming on. Why are you speaking at this, and what is this?
First of all, thank you for having me. And I feel really strongly about speaking out against war. And, you know, you have so many political parties coalescing from the right and the left, and the Libertarians leading the charge to this event. And it's really amazing. So you have the People's Party, the Libertarians. You have all different speakers like Jimmy Dore, Ron Paul, Kim Iverson, Tulsi Gabbard, with very different political views coming together for one message: no more endless war. We've spent almost $100 billion of weapons and aid going to Ukraine. And the suffering that we have in our own country is being ignored. And you've been covering quite well, where other networks haven't, the East Palestine in Ohio, the ecological disaster. Our infrastructure is falling apart. America's becoming a failed state with all these endless wars. We've basically pivoted from Afghanistan to Ukraine. And this war started, yes, 24th, some people say, but actually it started in 2014 with Maidan, when the Western coup was put in place in Kyiv, and that was revealed by Julian Assange, who is,
Yeah, it was great to see, again, you know, drawing publicity, attention to this very important cause in different media environments, so that everyone, again, we might disagree on a lot of other things, even some things related to this conflict, but it's important to have a group of people putting pressure on the administration to not have a whatever it takes, as much money as it takes commitment, which I don't think, and I don't think you think, is ultimately in the best interest of the Ukrainian people either.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So tune in tomorrow. We will have more on this with Sabrina Salvati. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. For those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are, of course, available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Yeah. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.